Again. Hi guys. Hi guys. Hi guys. This interview is all about Bitcoin and how to properly use that platform on the permaculture model. Check it out. Anthony has a lot of amazing information that you guys I know are just going to love. If you have any comments or questions, again, reply below. Enjoy. Hi, so we are here with Anthony.
Yes.
And I'm going to ask him to introduce himself in a second, but again, we're still at the Permaculture Convergence, and we've met amazing people so far, and he is one of the few I've asked to interview because I'm very impassioned by his work. And as this goes on, as some of you know, as a business intuitive, I help people get money, but I want to do it in a sustainable way where I can heal the world. So, on that note, can you please introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Thank you for the introduction and for taking the time to come to the talk this morning, learning more about blockchain and permaculture, regeneration, community building, how it's all interconnected. And the role that I play is how do we integrate rainwater harvesting into society at the level where it makes sense to be meeting the needs of the individual,
Right.
meeting the needs of the community, meeting the needs of the ecology by orienting ourselves to the hydrological cycle. In this case, rainfall, which is a gift to us. So what do we do with the gift? We use it wisely, and that means flowing it to where it needs to go, where it wants to go. So the work that I'm doing in Florida with Raincube is how do we make it easy enough, affordable enough, and productive enough where we can be turning lawns into rain gardens using both low-tech methods and high-tech methods. And there's already a huge groundswell of interest in rainwater harvesting and for multiple uses, both as garden irrigation. Here in California, it's fire prevention, retention.
Awesome.
And there are a lot of city governments who are giving out rebates. I want to go another route that I think holds a lot of potential, which is crowdfunding. So in this case, we are financing rainwater harvesting installs by pre-selling the harvest.
Right.
So similar to a community-supported agriculture model, it would be similar, but we're selling shares of the rainwater production. So that could be, in this case in Tampa Bay, Florida, Raincube is partnering with the Moringa Growers Co-op. So that's the first cash crop going in to pay for the infrastructure of the rainwater.
Interrupt you for a second. For those of you who don't know, Moringa is, in my opinion, one of the most miracle trees
Mother
on
Moringa.
the face of the earth. It's very easy to grow. You just stick the wood. When I lived in Florida, I just stuck wood, and trees are built out of it. And one single leaf has a lot more potency, nutritional value than 4 ounces of wheatgrass. So instead of wheatgrass shots, we could just be having one single leaf, and the pods, when you eat them, you can break the seeds. It gives you high amounts of energy, better than coffee. And as we all know, coffee has 7 different acids that ruin your gastrointestinal lining, whereas moringa actually builds your adrenals and your endocrine system. And it's a tree from Africa that you can pretty much put anywhere, and we would help starvation of the entirety of the planet.
Yes, and that's a beautiful introduction to moringa. And I would also add, in the context of the pharmaceutical, healthcare, industrial complex where people are relying on their treatment from synthetic drugs, moringa is a pathway off of that into natural herbal remedies and medicines. So I want to offer moringa as the nutritional supplement, as the way to get off of pharmaceuticals because of the situation I mentioned with my mother having died from cancer,
Right.
and just knowing
Yes.
firsthand how unproductive that system is. And I had lived in China for 5 years previously, so very familiar with Chinese traditional medicine, and
Awesome.
yeah, it's
That's
fascinating.
Well, as some of you know, I studied in China.
Yes.
Chinese medicine. I'm also a Chinese medical
Hablas
physician.
chino?
No, only herbs.
Okay.
I was there only 7 weeks. So.
Okay.
And so, to what you're saying, actually, one of the things that I want to bring across to our viewers is that in the older traditions, we have chakras, and each chakra represents a system of energy, vital energy. And so, when someone passes away from colon cancer, if you will, as we know, cancer is a normal cell growth, and we get it around 87 times a day. They say, whoever they are. And so if we look at it in that context, that would be the blockage of the second chakra, which is about letting go, letting things flow. And in Chinese medicine, there is a pair, I call it husband and wife relationship. The husband is the large intestine and the wife is the lungs. So when someone has a lot of sadness and grief that they sort of literally swallow, it comes out through your large intestine, if you will.
Well, we
So-
can see this with our own eyes with how separated society has become, commoditized, consumerized, that we're now having the situation where many Americans, and then as well as developing countries, higher living standards, more income, buying more fast foods. And you saw this when you were in China, but KFC, McDonald's, Pizza Hut,
yes.
they're all there, and they're all killing it, literally killing people, because diabetes is now, and obesity, that's now China's #1 health concern.
Yes.
Along with an unhealthy air quality and just so much environmental degradation at the cost of production to send goods and materials overseas to U.S. consumers. And then we're sending alfalfa grown in California to China to feed their cow and dairy industry. It is not in sync, I guess, with natural rhythms. And I think that's what we have the opportunity to do with blockchain, with these Internet of Things technologies, the internet itself, information systems. How do we align our actions,
Right.
both on the personal, community, bioregional, global scale? We can start to align our currencies to match our value systems and match how ecology flows within itself.
And I like very much what you guys were saying in the panel that he just spoke in, that is basically looking at it from a green tech point of view.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. And green tech, in my eyes, means green as in inspired by Mother Nature. And that's the permaculture lens gives us, is how to think like Mother Nature.
Exactly. And I want to go back just a little bit. Can you describe a little for people who have no idea what blockchain, because there's a lot of people who
Yes.
have no clue what blockchain is, and then how it constructs into what you're speaking of.
Sure.
To be sustainable,
yes.
regenerative systems, if you will.
What blockchain allows us to do with digital information systems is to give us a level of accuracy and trust that we wouldn't have otherwise. So if we are all communicating online with information, how do we verify the accuracy of that information? And that's where we come into trust. What blockchain is considered is a permissionless, trustless protocol, because the trust is built in to the cryptography, which is complex math, which you're able to kind of filter messages with a binary overlay. So if I say hello world or bienvenidos, you can turn that into binary code, ones and zeros,
Right.
and then that gets scrambled into a 256 string of ones and zeros. So anything that I can say in a message can be encoded with 256 ones and zeros. That's
awesome.
cryptographic signatures,
Right.
which has been around for a long time. It's just a lot of things are converging, not just technology, but social, economic, political, environmental, that is creating the need for this technology to emerge and to fill this new vacuum space.
Right. So, and from that stance, can we ask you what initially got you interested in this world? And then the progression, if you will, over the years, what became more your passion, and then what today, from the initial to today, what is your mission right now?
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Florida, as you know, and I spend time in Tampa Bay and St. Pete, right on the Gulf Coast. So grew up around water, oceans, lakes, rivers, springs. Florida has a beautiful hydrology. It's just so messed up. My first job was mowing my dad's lawn and getting $20 a week for that. So I've been around this system for a long time, which is like, what's our relationship to the home and to the environment, although I wasn't thinking about it at the time. And then in college, I got a degree in economics, graduated at the height of the financial, like when the crash happened, I got my diploma, and I'm like, I'll go to China because that's where the action's happening. That's, and inspired in part by the ecological crisis happening in China, the political crisis of how do you govern, how do you, human rights, earth rights, and then getting to experience what does this economic machine look like in a place that traditionally had culture, communities, villages, upholding society. And now it's been totally consumerized. And I had the fortune of spending 2 full years in southwest China, Yunnan province, in a village, working and writing and guiding, and really taking a deep dive into agricultural-based community and understanding the roles that the seasons play. And it's time to harvest the rice, it's time to plant the rice, let's get together, let's celebrate, somebody's family member died, we need to observe that for 3 days with a hike with the coffin up to the mountain to bury it. So that blew my mind. And then how do we take those lessons of community that you can find all over the world in these traditional societies, and how do we adapt it to modern suburbia, modern urban society? Because we're just transplants.
Yes, we are. So, okay. From there, and actually, I have to say this. I was in the Hunan province. I was doing Nanwei. That's where I studied for 6 weeks.
Huangshan. Did you go to Huangshan while you were there?
I went to the Yellow Mountain.
Exactly, Huangshan, Yellow Mountain.
Yes, and so I'm an herbalist. I practice drugless therapies on people, to put it this way, and my passion is homeopathy. But I was blown away by the wonderful guidance we got with the botanists. They study, they're master herbalists. They really do study at least 10 years on the dried herbs before they go into the actual, plants and the herbs that are alive, and then meditate on each of their qualities. And to me, that blew my mind away as well.
Yeah.
And so what you're saying about the water system, why I'm so interested in that, is as we've heard in What the Bleep Do We Know, or these kind of different documentaries, if we are over 80% water, then everything we're doing, we're saying, what message we're coming across, it impacts us directly, because we're over 80% water. So I love your idea, of your business. And again, do you have a card so that we can just kind of show it there? I love the water drop with the white and the blue here. We can zone in on this.
Yeah, I think we can really start to listen to what is water telling us, because there's so many interesting things. I just had a glass of gym water yesterday.
Wow.
That was being charged at the molecular level to create a coherence, a shape, in the form of a snowflake, like a fractal snowflake in the water. And putting intentions into water, and also interacting with water on the fundamental level of, okay, I'm mostly comprised of water. There is an intelligence running through me. It's amazing to think that what was inside of me was just a cloud, was just the ocean,
Exactly.
was just a raindrop, was just a river. It's all running through us. And once
Right.
we start to think in that way, a whole new world opens up
Possibilities.
of exactly, yes. So the term that I've been really channeling lately is interbeing, and that is my existence is relational to your existence. So
Right.
as to the existence of everything else, which was really kind of brought to public consciousness by Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese
Yes.
Buddhist monk who has been living in France, operating a plum orchard.
Yes.
And you think like, yes, this guy's awesome, and they're also selling plums to fund, and that's the great model. Like that is so easy to do at the crowdfunding level, because let's grow a fruit tree. Okay, like let's get together and let's plant it, and let's enjoy and share the fruits of our labor, and feed it the rainwater when it needs it, and have that ability to interact with water on a more creative basis. So like the Solar Living Institute is great because it's got an integrated water feature.
Yes.
And I think we're going to be seeing a lot of inspiring progress when it comes to how we manage our waste, and how we manage and recycle our water into the landscape, how we build our buildings. Like they're building a hemp house. That's
Exactly.
cool.
Yes.
It's extremely fire resistant, and potentially you could be using the stalks of the moringa trees to be doing the same thing as you're doing with hemp.
Completely. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you
So-
for inviting me onto your
Thank you.
program.
The other thing, is there anything new about you as the person of who you are today that would say, I started doing what I do because of these
Yes.
reasons, but who I am today, this is why I do what I do.
Yes.
As
Yeah.
as you've evolved into today.
Right. I think my path has been to how do I become gentler, kinder, stronger, by understanding myself better, being at peace with who I am, continuing to offer in terms of service as opposed to in terms of what I can take. So I'm happy to be contributing my skills and time and experience has somehow culminated in offering this, which is how do we get everybody harvesting rainwater, using rainwater, and sharing rainwater, and how can we do that, while having fun.
Yes.
So there's a whole nother gamification aspect that we can get into when it comes to blockchain and Internet of Things, because the reason why Facebook's so popular is because people don't think of it as work and they don't think of it as a transaction. But once Facebook's starting to make money off of user data, then like, somebody's making money off this, and it's
Right.
not me. That like doesn't feel fair,
No.
and I see a better alternative than Facebook coming very soon, maybe in the next year or two, which will be a better experience and potentially even offer an economic incentive, or at least a social capital incentive to participate and create on the platform.
Indeed. And I think that's why a lot of people are going away from Facebook. I don't know, by the millions, but something like 2.8 million people, users left Facebook in these last 3 months. And they're all going into other social media. Let's leave it at that. But it's very interesting. So if you were to say to everyone, one book that you would really, really like to share with us
yeah.
that created an impact in your life, what book might that be?
Right.
A podcast or...
Okay. Well, I'll give 2 books. The first one is the Advanced Permaculture Student 2.
Okay.
That's written by Matt Powers, and he offers an exceptional online permaculture certification course, and brings in a lot of guest teachers So it's a really good way to get your PDC certification in a really flexible way. The second book is Climate, A New Story by Charles Eisenstein. That launched this past week, and I think that's going to help us create a narrative to where we can start thinking about the living planet view, where we are living on a conscious planet, we are a part of that conscious planet, and we're living in a conscious universe, which means that intelligence is inherent in the fabric of the universe, the need to create life. So I think we're just right on the cusp of something really exciting, and just take it a day at a time.
And a quote that you live by.
A quote. Okay, I took an advanced rainwater harvesting workshop recently at the Permaculture Skills Center,
Okay.
Led by Eric Olson and this guy Brock Dolman, helping bring the salmon back and the beavers back, among other things. He said we don't have a water crisis, we have a water storage crisis. And then I would add we have a water management crisis. But the water management crisis already exists because we have a situation like Flint, Michigan.
Right.
But that's because the incentives are misaligned, where it's how do we cut costs as opposed to how do we create the healthiest ecosystem and healthiest community and healthiest individual. So totally different metrics.
Great. So thank you for sitting
Thank
with
you,
us
thank
and
you.
taking some time out. And you can find him at
Yep, raincube.io. You can download the blue paper. It's an easy read to help kind of get us moving on this Internet of Rain train.
And you're going to be doing some crowdfunding of sorts.
Yes,
So,
the goal
can you
is
talk
to
about that?
the goal is to raise about $1,000 to put in 1,000 liters of rainwater harvesting and garden. So the plan is to launch that in Florida and to create an easily installable kit and partner with nurseries, landscapers to start to build this rainwater garden evolution. And there's already a lot of really amazing organizations doing cool work in Florida already. For example, Fleet Farming
Yes.
is really innovative.
I was part of the beginning.
Okay,
of Fleet
yes,
Farming.
nice, right on. So there's this cool environment of need growing in Florida because
Yes.
the hydrological cycle is so messed
Yes.
up, and among everything's just
Yeah.
upside down. But
I
Yeah.
volunteer at the Hive. That's how we got into. Every month we meet the first Tuesday of the month, and we would just talk about different problems that were going on in our community. So I was honored to be part of the instep of the whole Fleet Farming
yes,
movement.
and I was able to make that connection through the Florida Permaculture Convergence. So
Yes.
that's another
Which I
reason to.
attend it all the time.
Yes. So they have a beautiful space out there. So yeah, doing the Kickstarter and starting to integrate more of these CSA concepts and models. So that's planned for the spring in Florida. I'm going to be traveling to Eugene, Oregon this week with the goal of trying to replicate that model, because the elements are already there. The permaculture community in Eugene is ready to go. They already have the
Right, they are.
crowdfunding expertise. They have the roof on the barn with the farm, and just like soil, everything's already there. How do we create the relationships to start creating that space for life? And that's where it gets fun.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. This is awesome. Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed that incredible interview with Anthony. Is he doing amazing things for the world? I hope you agree with me. If you have any comments or any questions, please reply below. And I look forward to the next one. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. And again, I love to teach. Any questions you may have for me as a medical intuitive, I will answer.